Okay. Who is that in the dark? Is that you, Javier? That is interesting. Yeah.
Yes,
You
I
look
am.
like a phantasma or something.
I am not. I am.
I can't hear them. Uh-oh. Whatever.
So now supposedly the TV is playing through the audio system. So your computer should be playing through the TV.
They can hear me, but I can't hear them. So I think I'm gonna,
The audio settings.
yeah, go to that and disconnect from that until we're sure what the.
So yeah, it says Samsung, which sounds correct because that would be the TV. Can you just output volume? The output volume is very low. Maybe you just
Oh, that's why. Hey, Javier?
No, it's still low for whatever reason.
Oh, didn't stay.
Hola. Hello, Jim.
Okay, I'm gonna
Change it.
Oh.
Yeah.
know what that was.
Test speaker. Okay, so yeah, try that one. It's your computer. It's not using the system. Try.
Javier?
Yes.
Okay, now I can hear you. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
How is Monica?
I think she is good. She's on retreat right now in the mountains in Colorado with a famous Zen teacher who specializes in the environment. David Loy. David Loy.
And she's going to come to Madrid?
I think so, in September. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. I'm going to mute you now. Let's see, or you already are muted. Everybody's muted. That was interesting. Okay, this I would love to like just not, no offense to you guys, but this like triple complicates the whole thing. Anyways, welcome to our Sunday.
Senior chin.
How was your retreat? Nice. I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it.
So on the camera, they're seeing your chin.
Oh, thank you. I got it. My next project is to shorten this thing so that it's like the Great Wall of Saladana here. Seems like. So I guess my first question, I think we have at least one new person. Just one. Okay, welcome. And are you new to meditation as well?
Not really new, but I wouldn't call myself an expert in it.
Good. We try not to become experts. In fact, you know what I'm going to do, Javier, on so that you're not shown on YouTube the whole time. I'm going to pin myself. So otherwise, right now on YouTube, they would just see your handsome face the whole time. And maybe that's kind of weird. So let's see. First, I could do that. And then how do I pin me? I think I go like this. Oh, pin. There it is. There we go. See, people with glasses, you know, they're able to keep their mask on using the glasses as it's like a brace or some bracket. Where were we? Yeah, we were talking about you, and you're not quite an expert yet, which is good because we don't want to become experts. In fact, the path probably is knowing less and less and less until you know nothing, and then you've made it. Then you're enlightened, and you get to know nothing mind. Okay, well, good. So we're going to do about a 31-minute meditation, and I thought I would just read something before. Let's see. I've got 3 sources of things. So my theme today is going to be thoughts, and things related to thoughts, our relationship to thoughts. And so I want to read, this is from the Daily Tejaniya, from Sayyidat Utejaniya. Okay. I probably could put it even on the screen. I'll try it without. The mind works from habit patterns. The mind works from habit patterns, right? Tendencias. You understand that these cause tension, right? The habit patterns of our mind cause tension, mostly felt in the body. But wisdom is weak and the habit patterns are strong. So we know that. We know we're wise. We know that our habit patterns cause tension, but still we think, right? Still, it goes on and on and on because the habit patterns are strong. Therefore, it is really important for you to see what motivates your thinking, right? Like, what is the cause of your thinking? You need to really watch and notice that the mind wants to think. It wants to be lost in thought. So we've introduced this new term, modo de emisión, default mode, right? So if we're not paying attention to something, then the mind is going to go into this default mode and think in just about random stuff. I mean, not anything in specific. It's going to wander. It's going to get lost in thought, as the monk said, right? And that creates tension in the body and in the mind. So mindfulness, atención plena, helps us interrupt this modo de emisión, right? This default mode. Be present and, stop for at least a minute or two or a second or two, that tension. And we can relax. So for our meditation, just notice this tendency of the mind to think. It's not our fault, right? It isn't like we're bad people, we're bad meditators, we have a bad mind. None of that. It's just that the mind has a tendency to think. It's just the way they're designed, and they develop that tendency very easily. So when we go to the breath, let's say, or the body, or maybe you're going to use sounds as an anchor, or maybe you have a mantra you use, for instance. Don't be surprised, of course, if the mind starts to think every 10 seconds, every 20 seconds, after 4 breaths, whatever, because this is what it does. So we accept that. We don't get mad at ourselves or hard on our mind or get frustrated. We just keep bringing it back. It's like we're trying to develop we're trying to teach it new habits to stay present. Kind of like teaching a puppy dog, right? To sit or to stay especially. It's like stay, and you walk away and the dog wants to come, but you stay. It's kind of like that with the mind. Stay with the object, which maybe the body, the breath, the sounds, your mantra, whatever you use. These glasses are not working when I talk. My mask still keeps coming down. Hopefully I'm safe, and I'm double vaccinated. So yeah, that's kind of just something to keep in mind, but don't think about it, right? Let it be in the back of your mind that this is what your mind is going to do. It's going to think. And your job is to just, when you notice it, because sometimes you're not going to notice, you're going to be lost with your mind. You're all going to be lost. You went on a viaje together, and then you're going to realize it. Hell, we're very far away from Saladana. Let's come back. And you'll bring your attention back. And you'll stay with your breath, maybe 2, 3, 4. If you're really concentrated, 5 breaths, and then boom, you're going to be gone again. And you just keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And maybe after 20 minutes or so, your brain might get it. It's like, oh, we're supposed to stay a little while. Okay, any questions? At about the 20-minute mark, I will change the instructions just a little bit to allow a more open meditation, a more open awareness. And you could keep on just staying with one, or you can move it around a little bit. One, yeah.
Carlos, usted me puede ayudar también. When you have, for example, a problem, you have the object, and you want to keep the distance. How can you strengthen the distance when you are, for example, weak? Or which method
Yeah,
will you use for strengthen your mind in that problem?
Yeah, we don't want to use what you might call strength or esfuerza.
Mhm.
We do not want to use that. That will only cause there to be resistance.
Mhm.
We just want to gently, but with intention, come back to the breath. So maybe you can only last one breath, boom, and then you're thinking about your problem.
Okay.
You just keep coming back. Yeah, but I mean, one of the tricks, or one of the I don't want to say exactly goals, but one of the things that we learn with experience is what is the right amount of effort. Because we don't want to effort too much, but if you don't effort enough, you'll just think the whole 30 minutes, or you'll even fall asleep or whatever. So there's a balance, you need to find it. But the key is, again, in the body. Is there tension? Are you contracting? Like I notice sometimes my heart rate will go up because I'm using energy. So then my heart rate picks up and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm using too much energy. So this is just a practice of where do you feel relaxed? Where do you feel alert? That's the right amount of energy, the correct amount de fuerza y esfuerzo, and you try to stay within that range. But if you have a problem, you have a problem, and your mind's going to want to think about it. So don't expect that you're going to be able to stay away from it. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay. Here we go. And thank you all for being patient on Zoom. So the very first step here is to make sure you have a comfortable posture. Una postura que sea cómoda. And also alert, erect, as one teacher put it, noble, like a noble posture. Una postura noble. And even the process of finding this comfortable posture will connect you with your posture, your body. So find your body if you haven't already. Bring your awareness somewhere into the body. There's a famous verse from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali that says, Yoga Chitra Vitri Narodo. And it means that yoga, the unification of the mind and the body, calms the mind, calms the movement of the mind. So we want to try to unify, bring together our mind, our attention, and our body. Now maybe this is easy for you, or maybe you don't feel much in the body. So you can always scan the body for any body sensations, any sensations at the level of the skin, for instance, where there's points of contact, or even within pressure. And then there could also be emotional sensations, sentimientos, nervios, cosquilleos, hormigueos, whole variety of things that we can feel. Maybe the weight of the body sitting here. And so the body, the sitting posture, makes a very good anchor, ancla, for your attention. If you don't pay attention to something, the mind is going to start thinking. So pay attention to your body and keep coming back to it. Now, if you want a more narrow focus, maybe a little more challenging, could be, you can follow the breath. So let's find the breath now. Everybody, see if you can find your breath, find your breathing, la respiración. You might notice it at the nose, the nostrils, the fosas nasales, or the chest, or the belly. You can pick a spot and follow it there, or you can follow it on its journey. And if neither the body or the breath is comfortable for you today, you can use hearing or listening as an anchor. So maybe with the air conditioning machines on, you can listen to that sound and just listen. Listening makes a very calming object for meditation. So just try to pick one that feels comfortable to you, easy to connect to the body, the whole body, the posture, or the breath somewhere, or sounds. And let's just practice. Keep coming back. Each time you notice your thinking, come back. Cuando te das cuenta que la mente está deambulando, no pasa nada, vuelve a tu objeto, tu ancla. Una y otra vez, no pasa nada. ¿Cuántas veces? If you are using the breath as your anchor and you want a little tool to help you stay with the breath, you can count the exhalations maybe up to 5. So each time you exhale, you count. And if you reach 5, just start again. And if you get lost before 5, no worries, just start again. If you are using the body as an anchor, one technique you can use to keep interested and connected to the body is notice how the body feels on the inhale and how does the body feel on the exhale. Noticing any difference there might be. So hopefully the mind is a little more concentrated, a little more calm. You can continue to work with the single object, the samatha practice, or if you want, you can open your awareness to include whatever catches your attention, whatever is most obvious, and let whatever that is be your anchor, your object, until something else arises. So maybe sensation in the body, in the foot or the knee is most obvious. So just pay attention to that. And then maybe sounds will arise that call your attention. So let hearing be your anchor. And then maybe the breath again. So allowing for a continuity of mindfulness, but not sticking to just one single pointed object, but allowing the mind to go, the attention to go from object to object. And in the back of your mind, you're aware of the changing nature of all these objects, how they come and they go. And by the way, thoughts also can be our object. Thought arise, try to pay attention to it, see what happens. So, very good. No matter where your mind or attention has been or where it is now, let's return to the body. Regrounding, reunifying mind and the body. Probably noticing that the body has some different sensations now than 30 minutes ago. Just taking note of that. And then if you're willing, bringing your attention to your heart center, to your chest area, and try to feel that area. If there's any tenderness or any lightness. And while you're there, thanking yourself for your practice, the goodness of your practice, the fact that you're here today on this very hot Sunday afternoon, taking care of yourself in this way, practicing something that has so many benefits, but is not so easy to do sometimes. And then if you're willing, imagining that you can spread out from your heart center goodwill. Buena voluntad, bondad, in all directions, touching everybody here today in Saladana, those on Zoom or YouTube, those who couldn't make it, and then beyond, touching all beings, all life. And then when you hear the sound of the bell, just being aware of whatever arises, whatever thought might arise, whatever feeling in the body, not reacting, just noticing, being mindful. Thank you all very much. If you need to move, now you can. And just talk about moving for 1 second, moving the body. There's a couple reasons why it's normally suggested that you don't move. One is because we are really trying to see the nature of our mind and how our mind reacts to any little bit of discomfort or thoughts that, oh, that this different posture might be better, or whatever it might be. And so if there's a little bit of pain in the body, discomfort, or there's a thought, this other posture might be better, we have an opportunity to pay attention to our mind and its habits, the thinking habits, by just keeping the body still rather than moving with every little notion, that the mind comes up with. And then another reason is that a still body, a quiet body, is conducive to a quiet mind. You know, it will help support a mind that is more calm if the body is also calm. You know, if we're constantly fidgeting about, moving about, the mind also is going to be fidgeting stuff. So there's a couple good reasons to try not to move. If though you think something is going to break, you know, like your leg is going to just break off, then maybe you should move. But a little bit of pain, probably not a problem. I think some people say that if you have pain and it goes away after you move, you know, within 30 seconds or a minute, no problem. If it stays for a day, then you maybe have a problem. Okay, so we're going to talk about thinking. Are there any questions or anybody wants to reflection about the meditation? No? Okay. So I'm going to read just a little bit from a book written by a master of meditation. Her name is Shyla Catherine. She's from California. In fact, right now she's doing a retreat in Big Bear Mountain, which I really wanted to go to, but it's a long ways away in California. So she's especially a master at the deep levels of concentration that they call jhana. This is kind of her specialty, but she's just a fabulous writer, and the things she say apply to much more than just the jhanas. Okay, so she's talking about her teacher. She says, "My teacher told me to meditate in any way that developed three qualities: mental brightness," right? So the mind is bright. That was weird. If we got some feedback, that was maybe something else. I see Nacho's there. So mental brightness, spaciousness, and relaxation. Right? So we want to be awake, we want to be aware, we want to have this mental brightness, but we also want to be relaxed. And we want to have spaciousness, which really comes through the body. That's where the spaciousness can be found. She had expected the early instructions to emphasize vigorous focus on a narrow object. It soon became clear, however, that demanding effort can create tension, just like the other monk said, which, by the way, her teacher is also from Burma, which is interesting, Myanmar, which is where this other guy actually is from too. So that demanding effort can create tension. And in the wake of tension, or in the path of tension, aversion and hindrances, I put the hindrances right up here. These are the traditional 5 Buddhist hindrances. We're not going to go over them, but there they are. They will thrive. Okay, the hindrances, these 5 things will feed off of the tension in a way. You could say that. So we don't want tension. Conversely, right? How would you say that in Spanish? That's a great word, conversely. And de otro lado, or something like that.
Por otro lado.
Oh, thank you, Nacho. I think we had it, but thanks. Conversely, a mind that is relaxed, bright, and spacious contributes to mental and physical ease. Now, there's another word that I don't think you guys use too much in Spanish. It'd be like facilidad, but it's literally that life is easy, right? We use it a lot in English, actually, in regarding Buddhism, ease. In fact, when we do our metta, that's the last one I usually do, is may we live with ease. You know, may everything be easy. Wouldn't that be nice rather than struggling all the time? A relaxed, bright, and spacious mind contributes to mental and physical ease and encourages a natural release into present moment experience. Relaxed, bright, and spacious. So she writes a little further on this. She says, for concentration to deepen, the mind needs to relax. It cannot stay on the defensive. So this is like super important. Because if you have a mind at all like mine, especially the way I was, I have a very strong autocritic, an inner critic. You're not doing it right, you know, you need to work harder, whatever, criticizing, judging. And this causes the mind then to get defensive, right? If the mind doesn't like to be criticized any more than we like to be criticized, any more than anybody likes to be criticized, right? So we don't want the mind to be defensive, you know, batting back the criticisms and the judging. So we don't want to judge it. We want to think of the mind, she doesn't write this, but some people would say this, we want to think of it as like a baby or a young child or a puppy dog, you know. A mind that is glad, right, has alegria, is usually concentrated. In spiritual life, gladness is not the giddy excitement expressed by titillation. I don't know, titillation is kind of an interesting word, but it's like the excitement that you're going to get something. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to get a new car or whatever. Or thrill, like you get on one of those Russian mountains. What do they call those things? Montañas de Rusia, or at the amusement park. The deeper forms of gladness arise when you trust your virtue. So I'm going to go a little bit about thoughts here. Happiness arises when you can trust the purity of your own heart's intentions. So this is a big part of the training. Like if you were to look at the Noble Eightfold Path, so we have 8 things, right? 3 of them have to do with this, maybe 4 if you count intention. What are our intentions? You know, do we want to cause harm? Are we angry with somebody and we want revenge, right? Do we have resentments? Are we holding resentments towards somebody? These kinds of things will get in the way of a calm, relaxed, bright, spacious mind. It creates tension, right? It creates stress in the body and in the mind. So part of our practice is observing our thoughts so that we can see whether we're having wholesome, what they call wholesome, habil thoughts, or inhabil, unwholesome thoughts. Right? And I mean, it's so easy. The mind wants to think. We know that, right? We know its default mode. Mode of emission is to think. So then we know it's going to do that. So then who's deciding what it thinks about? Now, if you have a mind like mine, it is probably going to go to something unpleasant, like something that needs to be fixed, which in this case is like the whole world, right? Needs to be fixed. I mean, somebody said it very well. It's like the world, humanity has lost the plot. We really don't know what the hell we're doing right now. And so the mind could go to that. Well, you can't solve that. So that's not going to create any relaxation, just tension. Or maybe you have family issues, right? And the mind goes to those. I mean, my mother, she fell down again, right? And partly she's fallen down because she's doing this. She never did it when we grew up. She was one in the making, you know, but she held it once a year and she'd get plastered. But now she does it like every night, or we don't know, but she keeps falling down. And so, you know, I could think about this, what do I say to her and all this kind of stuff, but it is not going to create relaxation. It's not going to create spaciousness. You know, it's not, I mean, I might be bright, but I'll be more than bright. I'll be like Angry Bright or something. So we really got to watch our minds. Happiness arises when you could trust the purity of your own heart's intentions. In short, it is a happiness of non-remorse. Okay, so no culpabilidad. We're not guilty of anything. We didn't do anything wrong. And then we can remind ourselves, I didn't do anything wrong. I have nothing to feel bad about. Okay, like sometimes they call it, so the happiness of non-remorse. I've also heard it called, it'll come to me. It has something to do with like guilt, but being guilt-free. It is through sincere reflection and our inner ethical commitments, okay? Ético, moral, our commitments, that we purify our intentions and grow to trust ourselves. If our ethical foundation is uncertain, tranquility will remain shaky. You know, like if we're stealing a little bit during the week from our boss, you know, or something like that, chances are your meditation is not going to be that tranquil. You might want it to be, but there's going to be turbulence. The mind will be unable to confidently settle into this living process of purification. So we know our mind's going to think. That's what it does. And you guys just meditated for 30 minutes, and I'm sure you saw a lot of thoughts, right? A lot went by. And there wasn't probably much you could do about it. You could leave them momentarily, but you'd go back, right? But one thing that we can do is we can be aware of our thoughts. We can observe them, although I don't know if anybody tried that, to try to actually observe them while they're in action, because they almost always go away, right? They either hide or they just stop, or I'm not sure exactly what happens, but you can't really observe them. At least I've never been able to. They always seem to disappear. But we can be aware, you know, like there's a lingering memory. Oh, I was just thinking about how much, you know, I don't like the Republican Party in America or something. And, you know, so important to be connected to our body. So we feel the body at that time. We always want to be connected to the body as much as we can. So, you know, I come back, I notice I'm thinking, what was I thinking about? I was thinking about that damn Republican Party. How does it feel in the body? Tense, probably, you know, kind of like this, contracted. So wisdom would then say, you know, probably best not to think about the Republican Party of America. And when you notice that you're thinking about it, let it go, right? There's nothing I can do about it anyways. You know, and this is another important thing. I believe this is important. Our mind has a tendency to think, this is just a natural default mode of the mind. But in addition, además, we believe, we humans, many of us, we believe we should be thinking. We believe we should be figuring things out. We believe we have to plan for that interview tomorrow 100 times. You know, we have to plan what I'm going to say here 50 times, right? So it's a habit of belief as well. That we believe, and especially in the West, where we were taught for 500 years that thinking, that using logic, that reasoning, all this kind of thing, this is important. So we believe this. Doesn't mean it's true, but we believe it. And so we also have to notice our beliefs. You know, and my mind has a belief that if I just think of, I'll just give you a real life example. So there's a talking head, we could call him like a talking head. He has podcasts, he's written books. He actually has a meditation app called Waking Up. And his name is Sam Harris. And I listen to him from time to time, his podcast. But in my opinion, he is a racist, not a racist. He is confused about the issue of race in America. And he will go on and on and on about how wokeism, which we call it, which I just read in El País, there was actually an article today about wokeism coming to Europe, and is it, I guess, appropriate here? But in America, it's a big thing, right? And he just thinks it's terrible. Wokeism is like the cause of all of America's problems, practically. And so I have formed in my head at least 20 emails to this guy that I'm going to send him, right? Of course, I haven't sent him any emails, but my mind wants to think about this. It's like my mind thinks that I got to fix this dude. I got to wake him up, right? And I have this belief that, like, I can, for instance. So we got to watch out for these things, because, I mean, fortunately, you know, it comes up, I notice it, and then I try to let it go. You know, sometimes I'll finish the sentence or maybe 2 sentences, but then I'll let it go. So this is very much about the practice, okay? This is not a sideshow. This is part of the practice, getting to know ourselves, getting to know our mind, getting to know the habits of our mind, the tendencies of our mind, the tendencies of our mind. And because in this tradition, the Buddhist tradition, the Theravada tradition, we do believe we have a little bit of free will, right? I always forget how to say this one in Spanish. Albedrío, libre albedrío, that we have a little bit. Some people, including Sam Harris, thinks we don't have any. And then he has expectations that people will act in a different way. It's like, hello, you can't say both. But in Buddhism, the Buddha believed that we do have a little bit of free will, libre albedrío, right? We can choose wholesome, we can let go of unwholesome. But we don't have a lot. That's been my experience. The mind is so habitual, those habits are so deep, the beliefs are so deep, culture is so strong. I mean, we're all here speaking a language. Well, I don't know how old English is, but I know Spanish is like hella old, right? You guys are speaking a language that's like 1,000 years old. That's a good sign that we don't change much, right? But we can change a little. And so in Buddhism, that's what we try to do. We're trying to see what's wholesome, see what's helpful, let go of what's not helpful, cultivate what's wholesome. This is the practice, part of the practice. Let me see. Oh, what happened to my clock? So I will stop there. That was a lot of words. I notice I pretty much have an all Spanish speaking, I know Jim is, well, you're basically Spanish speaking group. So is there anything also that I might have said that may have been, you didn't understand? Was it all pretty clear?
So your
Yeah.
friend Sanders is not a racist, but it's like your friend Sanders.
He's not my friend. He's a famous guy. You know.
But so, for example, others because I guess that in this camp, a lot of people of all origin come. All those is what he tell to people, what talk about makes sense with his belief.
You talking about Sam Harris?
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't tell you. To me, it sounds like he's confused, because this is an important thing. My children, who are half Asian, half white, they've taught me a lot about racial issues that I had no idea about growing up. And in Buddhism, the Buddha had said that if we cause harm, but we didn't intend to cause harm, if our intention was not to cause harm, but we caused harm, we don't create negative karma. It's like if you kill an insect or even an animal, but you didn't mean to, it was a pure accident, you intended not to, you don't generate bad karma, negative karma as a result of that, because you did not intend to cause harm. But what I've learned from my kids is a thing called impact. What was the impact? So it's one thing to not intend to, but if I did, especially with speech, right? Because what's one of the Noble Eightfold Path factors is right speech, saying things that are kind, saying things that are not harmful, right? But if I say something that even though I don't intend to hurt your feelings, but what I say does hurt your feelings, well, that's important. And I have to be aware of that. And if I can change, and it's up to me to change my language such that I don't have a harmful impact. This is where I think Sam Harris doesn't get it. And others like him. And especially if they're kind of on the left on the spectrum in America, they kind of think, this is causing us more harm than good. Because the right elects Trump because of it, who's just a complete racist, right? But even there, I don't agree. I think the more awake we can be about people's feelings, and even if it's identity politics, and in Buddhism, we don't want to identify and all that kind of stuff, you have to go through the process. You get there when you're there. And meanwhile, we identify. We're tribal. We just do that. And so I think personally, he's blind to something, that he doesn't see. And being a white man, smart, rich guy, I don't think he can talk about how a black person thinks, or, a biracial person thinks, or whatever. It's just my opinion. Nor should I.
It's funny because someone can create maybe an association, something like that, or like maybe a camp of really a good and has a good purpose. And it's like when the Buddha said, for example, he doesn't want to be venerated.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I find it like a kind of funny in some way, because for example, when I see some person who in my point of view is really good and really doing good stuff, I kind of skip all the maybe bad part of this person. And it's kind of interesting to see that even if someone is doing really good stuff and creating a camp and really wanted to help people in a certain cause, this person can also not be 100% right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I'm aware that for example, I have to still work on not fully maybe trust someone or be great. That's not everybody, of course, white and black, but not giving all my faith in someone or something. It's interesting.
Yeah. I just realized on Zoom, you guys probably couldn't hear what Jim said, I imagine, right? So I'll just summarize real quickly that Jim was saying that how even the most exceptional person, I would say, may have their faults, right? And to not just put your whole faith in one person, because we all have our weaknesses and so forth. And the Buddha did say that. He didn't say don't worship me, don't, he didn't want statues and all that stuff, and that ended up happening anyways after his death. But he also said something, or so we believe, we kind of interpret it as like, don't trust me just because I say it, just because a teacher says it, just because it's in some famous sutta. Don't take it for granted. Come to believe through your own experience. That was his main message, and that I really liked. That spoke to me. So yeah, what works for us, what feels right, and the more we purify the heart through our practice, purify the mind, these things become more clear. When I think of myself back 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there was so much crap that I didn't really know what was morally right or not. I was very confused. But as I continue with this practice, the more pure my mind is and my heart, the more I believe that I can see things in a way that hopefully will result in non-harming, including like my kids. My kids have a funny one. This may not work so well here in Spain, but in America, it's being white awake. I want to be wide awake, blanco despierto. And it's got a nice little, and that's what I want to be. That's one of the things I'd like to be. Bueno, pues entonces, is there anyone else that has a question or comment? Yeah.
So you said like you were noticing when like you caught yourself like reacting to say what Sam Harris like said.
Mm.
Like, is there a way to kind of like cut that kind of like reaction, like not while at the same time kind of validating, like, you know, like you're kind of
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, through mindfulness, being aware, we can cut it. We stop it. Like, you know, the more we practice, the more responsive we are to when we go off on some, you know, verbal, mental holiday. We could cut it, you know, where it might have been 10 minutes or one day or a week when we're thinking about something. Now maybe it's seconds. We notice it, we stop, we feel the body. But we can also take action, and we should. It isn't like we should not do anything and just let the world go by. You know, we do also need to take action. But the way we do it, we also do it mindfully. And we do it connected to our bodies. Like, so maybe I do write a letter. In fact, you know what I did? I wrote a Twitter thing, 2 lines. Felt good enough, you know, but just kind of stay connected with the body. And, you know, if we notice that we're, you know, going like that again, then we back off. But we still can do what we can do. And we need to. I mean, around global climate change, these types of things, if we don't do anything, you know, who knows what will happen. So we do need to take action, but we want to do it mindfully. We want to do it connected to our bodies. We want to do it connected to our heart. I mean, really, mindfulness, attention plena, that's like the key. We got to have it. And this is what we practice. And here, and now we're a little bit over, and I hope you guys don't mind. But I'm going to say one other thing that I think is important. And I could be wrong about how the brain works, the mind works, and all these kind of things, but this is how I seem to experience it. It's like a muscle, right? And the more we keep coming back to the body, or the breath, or whatever your object is, but we keep coming back, you're building, it's, you know, a muscle, a mental muscle. And then it just becomes easier. So, and I noticed it this weekend, or this week. I was gone for 3 days, and I was able to come back to my body and stay in my body for longer than I ever think I've been able to do in a normal non-retreat type of deal. And I attribute it to my practice. During COVID, I've been practicing 2 hours a day. And that's, if you were to go to the gym and pump iron 2 hours a day, you'd be buffed, right? You'd be, no doubt. You'd be sore probably too. You should take some breaks, but, and it feels that way about just my brain. I can't remember shit. So I know my brain isn't like it's getting younger or anything. I forget things like crazy, but I can come back to the body with such ease now. And I think it's just because of the practice. I just, it's the only thing I can explain it with. So the more we do it, the better, the stronger our minds will be, or our brains, or whatever it is. And the ability to just come back to the body, or come back to the present moment, to get out of those thoughts, will be greater, will be easier. Just, yeah, I think it just works like that. Okay. Went a little bit over, but I'd like to end, if it's okay with you guys, with a little metta meditation. This is, most of you know, one where we use phrases. It takes about 4 minutes. And again, these are thoughts, right? These are deseos, they're wishes, they're wholesome use of thought. So I will say out loud some phrases, and you can say them mentally. And so the idea here is we're trying to convey, much like at the end of the meditation, goodwill, right? So I think it's buena voluntad, I think in Spanish, or bondad. Some people call it buena bondad, or some sort of good wishes. And we'll start with ourselves, and then we'll go to what we call a benefactor or benefactora, and then a difficult person, and then end with all beings. Again, I usually put my hands right here in my chest just to feel my heart. May I be happy. May I be happy. For some people, that's a hard one right there, but hopefully we can do it. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. And may I live with ease. Que yo viva con facilidad. So now try to bring to mind someone or some being you really love. Somebody like maybe a wonderful grandparent you had, or could be a pet, or maybe the Buddha, Christ. Let's practice offering goodwill to them. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And now, let's call to mind a difficult person. So this would be somebody where maybe there's been a resentment towards them, or they towards you. Maybe they said something that hurt your feelings, or didn't show up, or it could be anything. Nothing too severe. Imagine that person being in front of you. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Finally, all beings in all directions without exception. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. And finally, in the tradition of renunciation, letting go, we offer up the fruits of our practice today, our Sangha community, our Buddha nature, and the teachings. Offer them up to the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war and violence, discrimination, racism, and free from coronavirus. And may all beings find their path, find their tools, find their methods towards happiness, towards freedom, towards spaciousness, a bright mind, relaxation. May all beings be free. Thank you all very much for coming. Just a couple quick announcements. As most of you know, we do everything here at Saladana on a gift basis. That's Dana, and Pali is to give or generosity. And you also can practice Dana, practice generosity. You can make a financial contribution in one of the boxes in the front, which when I'm here, you can just donate it to the house. But when other teachers are here, please give as much as you feel comfortable with towards their box. And all is appreciated. And if you could put, the material back, that would also be nice. And I will be here this Wednesday for basically the same session, a little bit shorter in Espanol B2 Plus. And then maybe Saturday, I'm thinking about maybe Saturday as well. We might have a Saturday morning kind of samadhi, longer sits, 45-minute sits. Probably we'll do that Saturday. And then here Sunday in English. And then Tuesday also with Chema up on the big screen. And some of us go out to eat afterwards. Everybody is invited. We try to find something vegetarian and economical. And that's it. Thank you all very much. Thank you guys in Zoom for continuing to show up. I wish you could be here in person, but I'm glad you're at least there.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye, Javier. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Bye, Nacho.
Bye.
Nacho, I think you have two going. Is that your dad on the other one? No, I'm kidding.
It's the computer and the mobile, sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Okay.